That's when I realized that I've got to keep my soul alive, yeah. We've got to keep our souls alive. We've got to
Welcome back to Sunrise. Feluke, an adapted name from Nigeria meaning placed in God's hands, is indeed appropriate for this graduate of Alpha Boys School. Feluke is a Grammy Award-winning percussionist, and this morning he's here to tell us about the second staging of the Healing Concert. Welcome to Sunrise, Feluke. Glad to have you back. We'll have you the other day, but we never even have enough time to talk to you about you.
Oh, we have time.
We have time now, we have time today. But it's hard to talk about the healing without speaking about the genesis of the healing. So you have to tell us about how the healing came about before we even talk about it.
Last year, I was bedridden from the return of colon cancer, but it came back more aggressively. It was metastasized to the lungs. So the first I went to Mexico through fundraising in terms of the GoFundMe and the help of other artists and stuff. Went there and they did some chemo and natural treatment. And after that, the one in my lungs disappeared and the colon shrinked a little bit. So I came back with some treatment from Mexico. But then when the treatment was finished, the home treatment, it got to a point where, like Mr. Man sorry, I tried to treat, but I just lick it out. So it became colorectal, protruded into the bladder. My urethra was completely blocked off. My rectum was almost blocked off. Colon was complete. So I couldn't go to the bathroom. Started losing weight rapidly. The pain was enormous. They had to bore my kidney to drain the fluid that was being backed up because, as I said, I couldn't pass urine. And it got to the point where I never thought that I would have been here today. Like, I never thought that, yeah. That kind of feeling, like most mornings in that time when I wake up, I feel like this was the day. Most nights I got in my bed, I thought this was the night, you know? And I started praying a lot and reading my Bible, a whole heap. This was supposed to be a secret though. I was supposed to stay home because I have made a promise that I wouldn't go back to another hospital in Jamaica to do another surgery because of what happened to me. Because my first surgery was supposed to be done properly and it wasn't. You know, and yeah, like, I'm not trying to bash the Jamaican system, but when you have an experience, you have an experience.
And your experience is your truth.
My experience was my truth. And the reality is, even the morning of the surgery in Jamaica, my whole being was saying, don't do the surgery. But I didn't listen. I got advice and I went and did the surgery still. Because I felt something was wrong. Like, I didn't get to flush my colon before the surgery. I did the surgery, my colon, I ate the night before I went and did my surgery in Jamaica. And I felt it was wrong, but that was my first surgery really, so I didn't know. But this time around, my musical brothers and sisters, they came to the house, it leaked out. Because
you couldn't hide from them for long.
I
saw you after that surgery actually.
So the reality is, well, after I did a CT scan, and the funny thing is I did the CT scan like a couple of days after my birthday. I remember the day when I did the CT scan, because my birthday is March 24th, and I was in pain. And I did a sophomore EP launch, in pain. And I remember Stephanie saw me and said, when are we going to talk? You don't look well. And I was like, okay. But we are friends from Ashy days, so.
That's a different relation.
Different relationship.
She could see something
was wrong. But other people didn't know I was in that much pain. And I brushed her off. And like on the 31st, went downtown and did a CT scan. And Yeah.
Reveal
When I
everything.
saw what I saw, I went home and I just started. I took up a TB and threw it from here to over there. So I had a fish tank, I took it and I threw it from there to over there. So I just started destroying things, and it's like I was heading to where my musical stuff were, and Denisha and Crystal grabbed me and said, "Yo, no."
And that would be a natural response, anger.
Yeah.
The first time at least.
And they were like, "No, make we do this one more time. You know about natural treatment. You have been doing this. Let us do this one more time. If you try fight and it don't work, we will leave you, make you do what you need to do." And I said, okay. And I went in on the beetroot and the carrot and all of these things, and because naturally I used to juice before.
Right.
That's why people were like, somebody like you who exercise and do all of that.
And on that point, Feluke, if you don't mind, what's your age?
I'm 41.
All right, and
That time I was 40.
right, and why I ask is because as you were going through some of the symptoms and the inability, for you to naturally relieve yourself of toxins, those were symptoms that I am able to relate to because of my maternal grandfather, who was 97 at the time, or 92 rather, at the time, in 1997. So we have this concept that while we are young, none of these things will visit us.
Trust me. I can tell you that is fake news.
Yeah.
Even the fact that if you eat strictly vegan, you won't get cancer, that is
It's
fake
not
news.
true, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have witnessed people who have never eaten meat from they were born turning up with cancer
Yeah.
in Mexico.
And particularly, Mario, colon cancer is usually thought, fake news, as you say,
There are dietary links to it.
in your 60s and 70s. You start your screening in your 40s, but this would have been developing in you during your prime years, in your 30s.
And the reality is, as I tried to explain to people, like I remember a lady called me like 2-3 weeks ago and said to me, "Feluke, what do we do?" And I said, "What is happening?" She said, "My husband, his whole body, and they have given up on him. But we have watched your story on Instagram and we want to know what to do. We hear about Mexico, what do we do?" And I said, "Well, here's a number. Call them, talk to them. But do not go to Mexico with the idea there's a cure."
Yeah. Guys, I said when Feluke sat on the set before we came live, and I said to him, "Morning superstar," and he says, "No, I'm not a superstar." And I said, "It's not how you feel, it's how you're perceived." You are among the first persons in Jamaica. This happens in Europe and the United States, where somebody who's famous, who becomes ill, uses the opportunity to help others to understand the illness.
We're supposed to be servants.
Exactly, and for you to have done this, where you can say someone has, and I'm sure it's not one person
No, it's a lot
who
of people.
looks to your story and say thanks, and to be able to contact you and said you've guided a path. It's
Well,
unusual.
I did not guide the path.
Yeah.
It was my brothers and sisters in the industry who guided the path.
Yeah.
Who decided they weren't ready. I remember when Sherita and Javada and Ryan Bailey
Yeah.
from Queen Africa came to my house and saw me. All he said was, "There's a place for you.
Yeah.
There's a place for you." Because I told him I wasn't going to the chemo. And he said, "There's a place for you, man. There's a place for you." And he kept saying that. It's in Mexico. And he said, "Tara Playfair went there.
Yeah.
There's a place for you."
Yeah.
And I just went online.
And then researching.
And
Again.
all I said was natural treatment
Yeah.
in Mexico.
Yeah.
And the first place came up was Dr. Castillo. And I was like, okay, I called him the following morning and he started treating me over the phone.
Explain that part.
Like he just said to me, "Send me everything." And when I emailed him everything, he said, "Okay, go down to the place you got the CT scan, get them to bore your kidney." And I was like, "Okay." And he said, "Okay, you need to start doing this." And I'm like, "Okay." And they wouldn't charge when I get there. This was free.
Right.
This was them saying,
This is advanced.
"We're going to save you before you get here. So when you get here, you're on your way already."
Yeah.
You get pre-saved.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Pre-prep.
So even when I went to bore my kidney, the lady was saying, it's not really that urgent. I was like, well, I was told to do it, so
Yeah.
you know, please do it. And I really like Ryan Bailey, Sharita, Tamara Williams, Gareth Daly, Colleen Douglas, Mikey Bennett, Dean Fraser, Herbie, Mack.
You know, you won't be able to stop, you know, because the list goes on.
Thank you very much. Like, everybody jump on board. Everybody jump
But
on
Feluke,
board.
a brilliant part of your story is that you and your team, you fought. And I see you've kept the tagline, no one should fight alone.
Yes.
And the first healing was a big success. It was an emotional, and I missed it, and I was sad I missed it, but I heard about it.
Yeah.
And whose idea was the first healing? Was it your idea? Or the team again was fighting for him?
The name, I think, was my idea.
Right.
But the concept started with Dwayne Stevenson.
Ah.
We were going to Spanish Town, to the prison to talk to some youth and stuff. And people who know my story know about the youth on the street.
Yeah, man, yeah,
That's
man.
where I really,
Yeah,
you know.
man.
And when the youth them was there and we're talking to them, and I started talking about, boy, trying to raise some money to stuff, and they said, yo, I want you. We could just keep a show, we could get this thing done. And
Sounds like doing.
him just start, you know,
Start move.
and talk to Dean and talk to Tamar, just start talk to people, and everybody just start. But my job was to get the artist. So I was in bed calling. Because I remember waking up one morning and I feel like, yo, I was going to die.
And you performed on
And
this
I
show,
went-
pre-treatment.
Yeah, I went on Facebook and I cried. And I begged everybody, I said, please, I don't want to die, I want to live. And I remember crying on Facebook and spilling my guts out. And I think that's when people realize that, yo, no, him no one dead. And it's like, yo, I remember when I remember even told her about coming to my room. He walked into my room and said to me, you're going to be okay. You're going to be all right. Don't worry about it. I remember him hugging me. And I understand my brothers and sisters who they couldn't even face me because they never know what to say to me.
A weird thing.
And I remember calling Zoja, and I said, Zoja, you can ask Pops if he can do the show for me, please. And when Pops heard my story, he was like, yeah, tell him this, yeah man, tell him everything is good, man. And came on, he said yes, and people just started, everybody who I called just saying yes. And we had so much artists, and the name was The Healing. Everything else came afterwards. When I was in Mexico after surgery, people who saw me when I got there wrote me off as dead. Yeah, and I know, as I said, me myself wasn't sure I was going to be here today. And after I did my first surgery, and they explained to me what they saw, and showed me the pictures of what they took out of me.
Couldn't believe it.
I have the pictures at home. I'm so sorry I didn't walk with it. Huge, and it was too different.
And we appreciated documenting the journey too, because a lot of times on social media we look at all of the flossing and all of the pretty things, but to see someone documenting, going through something like this is very unique. And I tuned in, everybody was there because we were with you on the journey.
Yes.
And you made this mandate to yourself that you would continue
Yes.
to have this show to help someone else.
Yeah.
So here we are, second year.
Yeah.
What made you decide to choose these artists? As Sarah Coach, who just lost her mom.
Well, we became very
cancer.
close.
Yeah.
Myself and Sarah Coach became very
Rest
close.
in
and
peace to her mom.
Her mother, she also admitted to me. And she said to somebody else that, yo, when she was talking to them, I said, yo, you see Denver? He's right here in front of me. Yo, him looking good. When I saw him, you know, when him first time I said he was on the other side, I am going to Mexico. And I remember me and Susan prayed right at the foot of Jackson. And I said to her, yo, don't think failure. Think. And she looked at me and we prayed right at the foot of Jackson, and she left. And me and the family continued to stay close.
Yeah.
So when this show came about, I was like, yo, because I hear a couple of her songs. Like she's just
good songwriter, good artist.
fabulous.
I have Zosha.
And then Zosha, you know, is just my sister from a comeback. Me and her just,
that's a good girl,
you know. Me and the whole, like me and even Charmaine Lemon.
Charmaine, wonderful.
Bobby came on board last year and gave us, you know. And when I mentioned this year, Charmaine was like, of course. And I'd like to lend my voice. I'm like, thank you so much. You know, because you can't, the thing is, you can have too much, but you said just the right people and the right time was important.
Speaking about right time, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, some details about the event. It's this Saturday, and tickets and all of the other important stuff. More Sunrise when we come back.
I woke up with a smile on my face. We've got to keep our souls alive. We've got to keep.
It is Saturday, November 24, and it's the main lawn at Vogue Zoo. What time should?
Well, please get there for 6 o'clock. I would like to start at 7 o'clock.
Show time at 7.
Yeah, I would like to start at 7 o'clock. We have wonderful artists. Wonderful. Jermaine Edwards, Runkus, Sarah Coach, Charmaine Lemone, Zosha, Jack Ure, Kimani Marley's back on board again.
Absolutely.
Romaine Virgo, and the most Uncle Ken Booth. Thank you very much for saying
yourself, of course.
And
myself.
Feluke, we're going to
major one.
have the flyer up on our social media, and we have a birthday greeting, and this birthday greeting is going to be the most special ever on CVM at Sunrise.
Happy birthday, Auntie Marjorie Francis of Yallas, coming from mother, Catherine, and daughter, Javina. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, girl. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
Thank you. She's on top of the world, I'm sure.
She must be.
All right, so that's it. You know, we have to close with this edition of Man's World Wednesday.
A nice
from
day.
top to the finish.
Interesting
One
stuff.
of my best experiences.
Interesting stuff.
One of my favorite Jamaicans, an entire generation of persons will understand better how to remain positive through a struggle, thanks to you.
Thanks, Feluke. Guys, take care. Go to the healing this Saturday.
I woke up with a smile on my face. A song was there on my mind. You keep us safe and sound. That's when I realized that I've got to keep my soul alive, We've got to keep our souls alive. We've got to keep our souls.